This is Seasons of Discontent with your hosts Rick Snyder and Matt Combs on the Hogstein Network.
Welcome to Seasons of Discontent, Season 7, Episode 24, brought to you by Rick Snyder's Washington. And I'm Rick Snyder.
I'm Matt.
And we're back discussing all things Washington sports and life as part of the mighty Hogstein Network on audio and here on YouTube on video. Well, Matt, I don't know if you like that or not, but Washington played a pretty decent game against Minnesota, came up short on a costly error, and yet everybody in the stadium was happy. Half the stadium was Commanders fans who are happy as all that it looks like Dan Snyder is going to be out of everybody's life soon. And the Vikings were happy in the end because they got the win. So a happy day at FedEx. Of 60,000 people, it was kind of an interesting atmosphere. I don't think people cared so much about losing. They would like to have won. They're just happy that this Dan Snyder reign is going to actually end.
Yeah, and I was, of course, watching it from home, and on Fox NFL Sunday they have Jay Glazer, and before the game, he actually reported that yes, this is a full sale of the team by the Snyder family, and that it is they hope to get this completed by March, which March was the key date because that's the next owners meeting where they can vote on this. So, hey, I know I'm happy because in about 4 more months, we're going to have a new owner, and things are really going to be looking bright in Ashburn.
I was seriously thinking of retiring after this season because I'm just tired of this nonsense. It's going on forever, but I'm not going anywhere now.
Yeah, and I mean, look, we're seeing some progressions, so there are pieces, but yeah, at the end of the day, Rick, it's all about who's the new owner, who's the new coach, who's the new quarterback. Like, I have a feeling that whatever owner is coming in is going to make, we're not just going to be wallowing at 500. He's going to try and make his claim on this team, and there's going to be changes. And I think it starts at the top. I don't see Marty and Marty coming back. Maybe he keeps Jason Wright to kind of help him transition. I don't think Ron will be here next year, and definitely Wentz won't be here. Maybe Heineke will sign for a backup deal, but that's why you drafted Sam Howell. I mean, if you have anything, Sam Howell can be your backup. So it's almost like this team is going to get a full reboot next year.
Well, I've been through this before. I guess I'm the last man from that, but there's a couple of things that will surprise people. Okay, number one, I think the timeline is, I saw Bezos has already said he's going to make a deal in January, which means after the season. But there's a few other heavy hitters here that can also do it. And I don't know if Dan Snyder will sell to Bezos, who's kind of petty about owning the Post too. I mean, there's a lot of moving balls. So I would not say Bezos is a slam dunk. But this process could go on for longer than people think. And if it goes to the March meetings, listen, owners can call a meeting whenever they want. It's first got to get past the financial committee approval. Then it's got to go. I mean, Milstein spent months chasing it until he finally gave up in June. It was like May. And they finally said, listen, we're not playing with you anymore, because Milstein wouldn't liquidate his assets. And that's why it took so long to do. And he finally withdrew because they finally said, forget it. We're going to vote you down. And he just withdrew. So, I mean, March is optimistic, to be honest. And if it goes like that, you can't fire all your staff and people because you can't go get anybody. There's an NFL rule, okay, one right off, June 1st. You can't hire any coach off another staff without that team's permission. Dan Snyder wanted to go get Jim Haslett off of Pittsburgh. He's a defensive coordinator. But it was after June 1, and the teams don't want to give up their coordinator that close to camp, and they didn't do it. So it's not a given that Ron and them will be gone right away because all the people are tied up. Everybody's done the musical chairs thing. So I wouldn't say that that's a fait accompli, as they say. They're understaffed. And maybe the next owner kind of wants to hear what their side of it was. And, so I wouldn't say that that's a given right away. Sorry.
Well, I don't know. I just have aspirations and dreams that, somebody like an Eric Bieniemy is going to become head coach, and Bezos and Jay-Z and Kevin Durant threw his name in the ring. He wants to throw some money on the Bezos Jay-Z group. I also did hear today that Magic Johnson and one of his partners in the Dodgers ownership is going to make a pitch for the team too. So, look, it's nice to feel wanted, I guess, because there's a lot of people with a lot of money that want this franchise, and yeah, they want to get in the NFL game. I understand, but um, from what we've seen, through the 3-game winning streak, and even against the game, even against the Vikings, there's some pieces here. Obviously you have it the number 2 overall pick, defensive rookie of the year, who's getting ready to come back. Jamin Davis actually looks like a pretty dang on good linebacker the past couple weeks. You get rid of William Jackson, and all of a sudden Benjamin St. Juice can play. There's some, you've got Terry locked up, you've got Curtis Samuel for a while, you just drafted Dotson. You fix this offensive line and you get a decent quarterback. I mean, and it's no knock on Heineke, but as we saw with the Viking game, you need a guy that's a little bit taller that can get over those linemen, and doesn't make the mistake when you need it, when you don't need it, I should say. There's pieces for this team that maybe they're not as far off as we thought.
The crowd was really excited at the game, and they were chanting Heineke's name at least 3 times. When he scored a couple of times, and I mean, this crowd it's a Rocky experience, or Rudy, or any of that. And unfortunately, Rocky got knocked down in some of those movies, and Rudy only got to play 1 snap. So
yeah, let's not forget Rocky lost in the first movie.
Right. Yeah, and he lost to Clubber Lang.
Yeah, the first match he lost to Clubber. He lost to Drago the first time.
Yeah, I mean, he lost. He almost lost the wrestling one to what's his name?
Thunderlip.
Yeah. So it's not all perfect roses here, but at this, I don't know when Wentz is coming back yet. We don't really know that one, but he's out there messing with stuff. But we'll see what his hand does.
Hey, Rick, Frank Reich got fired today too. Is that Wentz's fault?
Man, it just shows you. I know people want to give Irsay some credibility because he doesn't like Dan Snyder, but he's one of the worst owners there is. And you hired Jeff Saturday, who was a nice player for the Colts for a very long time.
I have more coaching experience than him.
He's coached high school ball, about 500. And they have no one on their staff who has called an offensive game at all. So who's calling plays on Sunday?
I've called more plays on Madden than Saturday has. And the fact of the matter is that kid yesterday, Ellinger or whatever, he played decent against the Commanders, but yesterday I think he missed his first 10 passes against the Patriots. I mean, you're not going to win with that guy. But somehow, some way, I'm sure it's Carson Wentz's fault, that they're a crap team and he got fired.
I saw a lot of black uniforms at the stadium, big line for people to buy them. And I mean, they look nice, but it's just not this team. Right. But okay, it's a black uniform. So go ahead. So they did have that a lot.
Yeah, the black uniforms, the problem is from afar. Like, when William Jackson was traded to the Steelers, they used a picture of him in the black uniform. And it looked like he was already in a Steelers uniform. From afar, you can't see that burgundy outline. It just looks like black and yellow. And I'm not really a fan of the helmet. I don't like the W in the front, but it's something different. I also think that that's going to change too. But I've been saying that from the beginning. These whole uniforms, everything was rushed. Nothing was completed. I got a feeling, not necessarily just a new ownership, but Nike is going to come and say, "Hey, look, we need to kind of work on these a little bit longer, and make it look like something that we can wear more long term."
Well, here's the question: does a new owner bring a new name?
If he's smart, if he wants to embrace the fans, I mean, you go out and you fight for that Red Wolves or Hogs or whatever you want to, whatever the fans wanted. If you really want to embrace the fan base, I mean, look, I'll be honest with you, Rick. 1067 is going to throw a parade when he sells. The fans are not going to care who buys this team. You're going to have a little bit of a grace period with the fan base because we finally got rid of Dan Snyder. So, but if you really want to, ingratiate yourself into the community, you might think about it.
Well, I ran a poll on Twitter. I'm sorry, Twitter, on my YouTube channel. I do a poll every day. People love this. And I said, okay, when you're just with your friends, do you say Commanders or Redskins?
I still call them the Redskins.
Like 600 votes, and it was 75% Redskins.
Mhm.
And I do mostly do on my own too when I'm just talking to people.
I find myself calling them the Redskins when talking to fans of the other team. You know, maybe casual fans or not somebody that follows this team closely. Because if you say Commanders, they're like, who? Oh, the Reds. They used to be called the Redskins. But I'm sorry. Look, the XFL team is back. Defenders is a better name than Commanders. Let's be honest here.
But man, if we're gonna have a fourth name in how many years, that would be crazy.
Yeah, but hopefully this one will stick.
I guess if Bezos gets it, then it's Amazon Stadium. We play Welcome to the Jungle. Everybody dresses up like an animal. It could
please, God, we're not naming the team the Primes.
And be the Primes. And who should be the next coach? Coach Prime. Come on, Dion. He's done a nice job. He's did a nice college job, so why not? Coach Prime will be here. I love
Dion can only get overpaid by Snyder.
I guess, but I enjoyed covering Dion that year. He's actually a pretty cool guy.
I know he is.
And, I'd love to see Coach Prime. It would be he coached Saturday. I mean, at least Dion's coached to some. I don't know. It could be crazy. How much time do we have left? I know it's great character there, but
we're at the end.
All right. So I don't have my stopwatch. It's in a box somewhere. All right. So anyway, we'll be back on Thursday morning. Thanks for coming. I'm Rick Snyder.
I'm Matt.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Seasons of Discontent on the Hogstye Network.